Hi, my name is Lisa Catto and I'm a small business growth expert, which means I help small businesses grow. But more than that, I am a small business owner myself. Having become an entrepreneur best part of 30 years ago, I've worked in all sorts of businesses. I started in the leisure and entertainment industry, and I've worked in retail, I've worked in journalism, I've worked in digital marketing, and I've worked alongside big brands such as Adidas, Coca-Cola, Quaker, Nestle, as well as supporting smaller business owners as a consultant and coach in such as photographers and tradesmen and caterers and consultants and therapists and sales teams, you name it. I've kind of worked alongside or in those businesses myself, solving problems every day, helping people save time and get real measurable results in helping people shape their businesses, set their goals, reach their goals, have a better structure, having happier staff. And a lot of that I've done using one of the tools, which is Infusionsoft. It's not the only tool that I use, but it's the tool I'm going to talk to you about today because I've been working for the last 2 or 3 years in refining what I can do for accountants who have the most relentless time swallowing up of stuff that they have to do. The tasks and the repetition and the relentlessness of the touch points that they have to have with their clients is unlike any other business that I've come across. And time, as we all know, is our most precious commodity, whether it be in our personal lives, whether it be in our business lives. We never seem to kind of have enough of it. So using it as efficiently and as effectively as we possibly can has become one of my goals, quite apart from the fact that I'm impatient and I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. So how do I do this? Well, as I mentioned, I use Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is a CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool. That's a big word for database, basically, but it's a very big database, a very powerful database. But the thing that it has that differentiates it from other databases and CRMs is a very powerful automation tool. The automation that goes on in the background is triggered off things like segmentation of data and the actual data itself. There might be dates that can be triggered off the back of, and the actual content of the fields as well can be triggered off the back of. So I've spent a lot of time refining what accountants and consultants need in this area. So that's what I'm going to walk you through today. So the main area that I've identified over the last 2-3 years where accountants can save time is places like the onboarding of clients, of chasing them for paperwork for their VAT returns or their tax returns, letting them know about liabilities of where to pay, who to pay, when to pay, how to pay, keeping your clients informed of all the stuff that they need for their responsibilities as business owners, might be pensions, might be dividends, or keeping them up to date with things that's going on in the world that is your duty as their accountant and their consultant to let them know about. A lot of accountants have data scattered across different spreadsheets or different systems, and this consolidates everything into one place, giving really good, quick and easy access to client data and tasks that you need to accomplish in your day-to-day of working with those clients. So I'm going to walk you through an overview of some of these things so you can see kind of how it works and how it can save you time and make you more efficient so that you can spend more time working with your clients on their business rather than chasing them for paperwork to move their business forward. So as I mentioned, the onboarding is the first place that we start of the gathering of all the information. If you've got existing information on spreadsheets, we bring that in. But the onboarding of a new client, we have a form. And that form's within Infusionsoft with all the fields that you would need for any given customer. You might have a paper copy that you're doing this on already that you have to transpose over, and this will save time as well as human error, especially if you use the web form option that you can send by email to your client, completely branded to you, where they can put their data in. They can put their VAT number in, their date that they started their business, what their national insurance number is, their annual return dates and such, so that you've reduced the amount of time that you're having to put that data in, as well as reducing the human error that might occur when you can't kind of read someone's email address properly or they've got a weird surname that you need to spell. So this helps, this data that we gather is all the data in one place and can be populated across the whole system and is used to merge into customized, tailored emails from you, from your email address with your branding. It all comes from you. And we can segment here as well, so we can know the difference between a sole trader, a limited company and a private client, because you're going to send them a different engagement letter, and this will merge into a Word document automatically, which you can just print on your letterhead and send out. You might want to send it out on an email as well, which they can digitally sign or click to confirm that they've actually read it. And if they don't, the system can automatically remind them to do so until you're happy that they've actually complied and they know what you're looking for. The auto generation of something like a registered invoice, office invoice, might be useful to you. If you are going to be the registered office and you're going to charge for that service, this can link up with your account software or just notify your accounts department to generate an invoice. And if it is linked up with the software, it can also remind it to do it every year as well, so it never gets forgotten and you're not having to remember who's who and what's what. So the onboarding of clients can be completely condensed down and save a lot of time, as well as the accuracy of the data that you're going to hold. So once you've onboarded a client, you're going to want to perhaps let them know about stuff that they need to do. They need to send you paperwork for their self-assessment tax returns so that you're not still nagging for it midway through January when the deadline's approaching. You can start really early. I have one client who is starting this process in June and is reminding clients so we can really get the bulk of it out the way, so you just got the stragglers at the end. Payments on accounts as well. If there is a client that has to pay something midway through the year, an automatic email will go out to them telling them how much to pay, what their liability was, where to pay, all the rest of it. You might want to be demanding people for VAT paperwork, so that whether you're doing their VAT return or not, you can be reminding them that their VAT quarter is due and what they need to do about that. So they really feel that you guys are supporting them in their role as a business owner. Submission of annual returns and confirmation statements. If you're the registered office, you can get a notification you can get delivered a spreadsheet straight away so that you know exactly for which clients you need to make the submissions for, or you can let a client know from their annual return date that they need to submit it with perhaps details of where they would log in or instructions of how to do that. If you've got an end of year accounts coming up, we can notify them on timers in advance, so the system will know that their end of year is the 31st of December, and you can let them know 1st of December or 31st of January, whichever suits you, of that their end of year is coming up, and then they should be preparing their books, and perhaps you can help maybe with a bookkeeping service to get their books and records up to scratch so that they can deliver their information to the relevant authorities without any penalties. Now, the automatic reminders can be very useful. It's completely triggered off all the information that goes in the onboarding, or that you can dynamically update the client as you go, as things change or you get new information for them. The liability notifications have proved really useful. There's been a number of accountants I've worked with who pull up sent items, they edit the email, the information their name isn't always capitalised. By use of a basic form within the system, one for each of the different liability notifications, will store that data. So you're not having to hunt around going, how much was their liability for? You've got complete and instant access to it. And it will merge in, it will auto-populate the form with anything that's existing in the record, such as their payslip reference or their accounts office reference. And by completing the form, it will automatically trigger an email to them, inserting in their data, their accounts office reference number, their liability, and obviously what periods and stuff it's relevant for, and where they need to go to pay. And you can put in there when they need to pay by, so that you're really holding their hand through this process whilst having to do nothing other than just tap in the number of the amount of money that they actually need to pay. So you can do this for payroll notifications, for their VAT liabilities, for their self-assessment tax returns, whilst also simultaneously triggering something later in the year to remind them of their payment on account. And if you get late payment notifications because you're the registered office, there's a very quick and easy form to let them know what that's for, so that you are on top of making sure that as little time is spent on these repetitive tasks. So the data that you hold, this is some examples of the fields. These are not exhaustive. You can have custom fields to your heart's galore of all the different data that you would like to hold, such as what liabilities are due for that client. You've got a snapshot view there of what would be on the record. You can see what services you're offering. So if you're doing limited company accounts for someone, you might want to check that you're doing the self-assessment tax returns for the directors. If you're doing VAT, you've got limited company, you're doing VAT and you're not doing payroll, all this data is completely searchable and cross-referenced. So you can pull up lists to go, who are all the limited company accounts I've got? Who am I doing payroll for? Who am I not doing payroll for? You can then email the people you're not doing payroll for and make sure they know what you have to offer and what value you would add to their company by doing their payroll for them. Likewise with things like CIS and service charges and rent reviews can all be completely customized to your business. Snapshot here of the kind of data you'd hold on a company, including things like usernames and passwords for the gateway access or their authentication codes, all in one place. We've got obviously the going digital, tax going digital, where we've got people onboarding at different times depending on what they are, and we've got a date ready there to trigger email so that we know when they've got to be onboarded or they know when they've got to be onboarded, depending on whether they're a sole trader and what year it is and such like. All the emails that go out are completely customized, and all the data is completely GDPR compliant and also safe harbor compliant as well. It's all cloud-based. You just need to have an internet access to be able to access it. It's not held locally at all, and everything is completely GDPR compliant as far as it being encrypted and the safety of that and security of that data. The quick access I mentioned, this is an example of a dashboard. The dashboards are completely customized, not just per company, such as you, but per user. So if you've got a different manager within your company that is doing the VAT returns versus one that is doing the self-assessment tax returns, their dashboards can be unique to them. It's dynamically updated as things happen in the background. The automation will add tags and remove tags as things happen so that this data is completely up to date and dynamic and to the minute. So you're not having to scroll through things. You know, if you've done a VAT return for someone, it would disappear off your dashboard so that you are only looking at people for whom you are waiting for VAT documentation, for example. So it's completely customizable for quick access. So that's an example of how you can onboard a client, how you can send them their personalised letter of engagement, how you can use the data that you've drawn in to trigger automation such as demanding of paperwork, notifying of liabilities, and all of it completely customised to you with your own branding coming from your email address. But there's more. There's also keeping the clients informed. There's all the emails go out from the system, not from your Outlook, and it stores the emails in there. So at any given time, you can see when an email went, if they click to open it, if they've clicked on an attachment, if they've clicked on a link. You get all of that data because it also has an email broadcasting software in there. So with a very beautifully designed drag and drop builder, you can create email broadcasts either on a monthly broadcast, you can send out one-off broadcasts, you can segment your list so that you're only speaking to the right people about the right information, and it's really easy and simple to use. Other things that you've got in there would be able to put forms on your website. Some of you might have seen this for today. This is a landing page editor that is in Infusionsoft that was built in about 10 minutes, which captures all the data and will tag people automatically so we know who is here, who attended, and we can follow up with you afterwards. You can put forms on your website. So like your contact form on your website can automatically send an email to you saying you need to follow up with someone, as well as automatically either starting someone into an education series of nurturing them on what you do, and also auto-replying to them straight away so they know that their query has been received. And again, you can segment in that. You could say, are you a sole trader? Are you a limited company? What is it that you're interested in? So as soon as the data comes in, it's already nicely segmented for you so you know exactly who you've got, what you want to talk to. So some of the examples of the automation that we've gone through is client onboarding, automated reminders, liability notifications and marketing, educating and nurturing your clients, having sales pipeline management when you've sent out a proposal to one of your clients, Infusionsoft will be able to track that so that you know exactly who you need to follow up with and when, and also what was said to that client, so that you've got all that data to hand, no more searching through sent items. If you do a lot of networking, I've set up in the past one-to-one reminders so that you know who to catch up with. Might be a networking person, might be a client, might be a supplier, that you get notification going, you really need to catch up with this person, and you can set it to 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever you want, all completely customizable to you. You've got anniversaries in there. This is part of the triggering off the dates, such as it's triggering off annual return dates. You can trigger out anniversaries as well and send people birthday messages or moving house, whatever it is, you can trigger off the back of the dates. So there's a broad range of different automations, and this is just an example. This is not an exhaustive list. Is that it? Well, apart from obviously using it for marketing as well as automating your workflow, you can also probably see opportunities where your clients can benefit from this kind of automation as well, so that they can be more efficient in their business. I suppose you're already offering things like Xero, because that's a more efficient bookkeeping system for both you and them on many occasions. And you can offer this system to them by being their accountant. You're also their business growth expert. So as far as making sure that they are being as effective as possible in their business and as profitable as possible, you'll probably see different ways in which this automation can be used for them. So, how much does it cost, I hear you ask? It's not expensive. This is an overview. There's different packages, different depths that you can go to. So this is a kind of middle range where you'd come into it, where the actual software itself costs £150 a month, which I think I don't know how much time you spend on chasing clients up for paperwork and stuff, but if that's all happening with Infusionsoft doing it for you, would you save the wages for yourself or for a member of staff of £150 a month just on that task alone? I mean, I know of accountants who have saved 2 to 3 days just on the self-assessment tax return stuff. Saving 2 to 3 days, how much money is that really saving you? To get it all set up, completely customized to you with some automation ready to go, including training, £1,250. Getting all of your data in there and making sure that you guys know how to use it and have the support ongoing that you need is where we're at. So if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear them.